Hey guys, welcome to Girls Frontline 2. So if you're ready to sacrifice a few hours in farming for the skin, then I will go through a couple of guides that may help you. So all of the guides that we're going to be talking about is not going to be applicable to everything that you're going to be doing, but it will be pointing you in the right direction. So some of the objectives in the commissions under journey milestone might differ from what you have accomplished or you will accomplish versus mine. So this is how I did it. So I basically earned 2,400 points and I stopped. So we'll start off with special monuments on what I did. These are kind of simple and this is going to be requiring you to be manualing some stages and choosing some stages that would fit the category that you'll be going through. So nothing special here. We'll go to a more specific part of the what do you call this, of the farming in some of these stages. So this one, some of them you might get while you're doing some of the battles, but this is actually, I think, more of the most complete one that I have what do you call this, I have put through. Then when you go to battlefield ties, this is more specific to the doll that you have. Some of them you might not have, especially for Dayan. Again, Ulrid I don't have, so you might complete those, but more or less what I completed was Krollik, Nemesis, Groza, Sharkry, Cheetah, Tololo. Tololo actually was a nice complete because I did all three. Sabrina, to Dayan, and Suomi. So you might not have Dayan. So definitely you have to choose whether you have that doll and if it's easy to accomplish. Next is going to be Jack of all trades. So for Jack of all trades, this is more of the collection part, because most of the targets here, the checklist here, is just something that you do every day. It's not gonna be as difficult as as it seems, but it's only 30 of 76, so I have a lot to go for this one. So this one, so collect 10 weapon skins, 20, 35, and so have 20 friends, have 10, have 50. Friend circle. Again, these are things that I think you have finished already, and most of these are simple. Okay? Then let's go to the hard part, one of the hard parts, so tactical planning. We'll go to some of the stages later on, especially on the most stage, the most that I've farmed and who I brought. So this one for tactical planning, so this is based on stability damage. This is going to be related to the area where we're going to be doing most of our farming later. So have boss unit, possesses different buffs, blah blah blah. Then this is usually accomplished during most of your farming again. So for elite, for Exile Chronicles, this is where most of my time was in and most of the target that I did. So hydro tiles, you have freeze tiles, you have debuffs to enemies, ultimate skills. So these are the more repetitive parts of the farm, which you can do and which will take up most of your time. So critical hits, then you have stability damage, then you take out Verjägers, which is usually the story, Elids in the story, PMC story, members of Paradeo story as well. Support attacks is going to be dealing with farming, and we have here interceptions, counterattacks, the farming as well. We're going to go through specific units later on. Who did I bring for, for faster farming? And that's it. So these ones are going to be in tiers. So it's going to take you a long time. You might go through a different path as I did. Not exactly the same. It really depends on how or which is your preference. So again, just to add here for tactical planning, You might want to go through some of these. These are boss related points, which is big, which is going to be for digraph. We have here for two more Hinkus and Blue Sphere. So these are the stages that you might want to go through first if you're comfortable with them, because these are 50 points. But mind you, these are hard as well. So again, you might want to take these to have a big bulk of points, or you might want to go through the long grind. So majority of your farming will be done with target practice, and specifically with two teams. You will have your burn team and you will have your freeze team. I will be explain the differences between the two, because both will have different objectives as you go along. So with the freeze team first, you will have to make sure that the puppet is going to be attacking you so that you can trigger counter attack. So your objective for this freeze team is to trigger hydro tiles, plus you can trigger ice tiles. That is why Suomi and Dush is going to be here. You can also trigger counter attacks. You could trigger interceptions as well, because you will be needing that in your objective. Plus, you can trigger support attacks as well. Make sure that for QJ, you remove her mod key, because that mod key will be dealing burn damage. We don't want that. We want her to deal physical damage, because if you do deal burn damage, it won't affect this puppet because it's going to be weak against freeze. So let's give this a try. If you actually don't have Dash, another option for this lineup is going to be Dayan. If you don't have Dayan, you're gonna have to be bringing Sharkry. Although Sharkry has burn damage, but her support attack is actually a physical attack. So as you start, Sabrina will be, doing tiles, giving buffs to everybody. QJ with her support. Then freeze tiles for Suomi plus shield. Then for Dash, she's gonna do the buff. Then for Maki, she's gonna be doing her ultimate skill. So take note that as the puppet attacks, you could do counter attacks and can do interceptions as well. So that is how one round usually looks like. So again, the damage here is going to pile up as well, because there are objectives for damage. But if you get, my drift, so you produce hydro tiles, freeze tiles, counter attacks, interceptions, and support attacks, this is going to be more or less your team that will be able, your team that can accomplish some of your objectives. Again, you can swap out Dash and put in Dayan or Sharkry. The other team is going to be a fire team. The fire team is more of the stability damage as well. It's gonna have more stability damage versus the freeze team. Crit damage in total. You're gonna have some counter attacks here because you're gonna be bringing Sabrina as well. So let's take a look at the pieces that you will be bringing for this team. Also take note that the mech puppet should attack as well. So for this burn team run, you do have QJ and you do have Sabrina as your staples. Take note that QJ should have her mod key equipped for this team, and we do have Scent, we do have Vector, and we do have Sharkry. So if you want to sub out, if you don't have some of the dolls here, especially for Scent, then you can sub in Senya for Centurisi if you don't have her. Vector, I think, is a must-have at this point because you're, at this point, if you're farming for her skin, definitely you will have her. So let's take a look on how this first turn or first round cycle, and at least you have an idea on how it looks like. Okay, so for the rotation, Sabrina goes first. Hydro Tiles, then you have QJ, then you have Vector. Next is going to be Scent, and lastly is going to be Sharkery. So if you can, take note later, because when it comes to the turn of the puppet, Sabrina will be triggering what they call this, the counter attack, plus QJ will be dealing that support damage as well. Counter attack, support damage. That's it. So again, it's similar to the freeze team cycle wherein when you are attacked, Sabrina does counter attack, then Macchiato does the interception. So for both teams, basically you're gonna have a lot of stability damage. The difference is just going to be the quantity and the damage dealt, because this team is going to be dealing a lot of damage. Again, take note, if you don't have Scent, you could slot in Senya for this team. So far, this team has yielded me a lot of, a lot of points in terms of crit damage, damage in total, and for stability. So that is it for farming for the skin for Molotov Bunny. So I hope you enjoy, farming. Again, it's gonna take you a while to farm, and you're gonna have to invest a lot of time, especially if you want to get this skin as soon as possible. Thank you guys for staying this far. Take care, stay safe. This is the Warden, and I'm out of here.